It all the way up.
Everybody, lift it up. Everybody, stop what you're doing and listen to
Yes. You already know what time it is. It is me. He is I, and I am him. I am he that they call the Alpha Male. Welcome to Alpha Male Sports, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So as you can see, my voice is a little different. My voice is changing a little bit. I don't know why. It's kind of like, the weather outside is it's kind of wonky a little bit, a little off. So, if you guys can bear with me today, it's not going to be long. Trust me. It's just going to be, we're going over some stuff, home, home cleaning. I don't know how to put it, but, we here. Ladies and gentlemen, you already know what time it is. It is me. He is I, and I am him. I am he that they call the Alpha Male. Welcome to Alpha Male Sports. Thank you for joining me today. Make sure that you guys check me out on all my social media platforms. Check me out on Instagram. Check me out at Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, at radio, the number 6_Raheem. Also check me out at AlphaMale Sports, all one word, AlphaMale Sports, all one word, AlphaMale Sports, all one word. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you all for joining me today. Before we go any further, I want to just say that want to make sure that my pops is doing well. Had to check on him earlier yesterday in the hospital. He was, getting a routine procedure done. He's pretty good. Checked up on him today. He's doing all right. But yeah, he's doing okay, and just want to, kind of point that out. But if you guys don't know, I always talk about it all the time. My dad is a part of the Clark Atlanta University Hall of Fame, if you will. This past weekend, I think it was this or last weekend. The weekend before last weekend, it was homecoming for him and all of his alumni buddies, friends, acquaintances, things of that such. It was their homecoming weekend at Clark. It was also homecoming at Morehouse last weekend. A couple weeks, my homecoming was at Benedict College. I did not go, but it was incredible. It was awesome. And, before we go, into today's slate of topics, today's slate of things that we got to talk about, I definitely want to bring this across your feed. And I want to see what you guys thought about this because, my wife and I, we had a discussion about it and it makes sense. What would you choose? What would you do if your school decided to charge you for homecoming? Matter of fact, let's go ahead and pull it up now.
How much is your
There we
HBC?
go.
How much is your HBCU homecoming worth to you? Like, put an actual dollar amount on it. The reason I ask is because Livingstone College is implementing a new strategy. Everybody who comes on campus on October 21st, which is the date of their homecoming game, is going to go through the gates, go through metal detectors, and be charged $30. Now, that $30 gets you access into the football game, as well as 2 concerts, old school and new school. And it also gets you just access to the yard, tailgating, all of that good stuff. So, what do you guys think of this policy?
So, to answer his question, what do you think of that policy? Of course, he said $30. That gives you access to the homecoming concert. That gives you access to the homecoming game, tailgate, step show. If you can think of any other homecoming events that people think about or have, each school is different. But to answer that question, in all honesty, I think it is a good idea. I think that it is an awesome idea. I think that it is an idea that not only my school should implement, but every HBCU should implement going forward. Now, if you've been watching social media like I have, my wife has, friends and family alike, we've been sending messages back and forth on the group chats and stuff like that. And what I found out is that, it's not attractive or endearing, if you will. It's not one of those things. It's neither one of those things. If you see people jumping fences, breaking fence, there were people jumping fences at Howard University's homecoming. There were people breaking fences at the Norfolk State homecoming. Thankfully for Benedict, we have a very large area of land that we can conduct the homecoming tailgates. It's one way in, it's one way out. And so there's a way that they're able to do that. And so far it seemed to be effective. But again, to answer the man's question, I would enjoy that simply because of the fact that, this brings money to the school First off, like the bottom line is always going to be the bottom line for me. Make sure your school is able to make money. Homecoming is that time of year where it is expected. It is expected that people come and spend money. Not expected, and just they're not expecting people to spend money on the school always, but it's an expectation. You come there, you got to spend money. You got to come with the freshest clothes. You got to come with, you got to have somewhere to stay. You got to have something to eat. And alumni from years past, they come down and they celebrate with the current students. I myself, if you see behind me, I'm a part of a fraternity. So of course I have a group of people that I know to go and see. So it would make sense to, as an institution, to put a tab on it. I don't think $30 gets it, but I do believe throw a tab on there, put $50 on there, put $60 on there, something that can ensure, one, I get into the tailgate. That's the number one thing. I think, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I believe the tailgate is the number one place that everybody should go to in homecoming. But also, too, the fact that I can go to the football game, I can go to the step show, the homecoming concert. I can make it to a lot of the events that are going on the campus, and it's one flat fee, and I can almost relieve myself of that mental insecurity that, oh my gosh, I don't know, I didn't get a ticket to the game, so I don't know if I can get in. And you have to do something outlandish like jumping a fence or I mean, just go and look at it. Seriously, it's a sight to see. People jumping fences and things of that such. I don't get it, but that's how that is, man. I want to also first off give a major shout out to my institution, the Benedict College. I wanted to put the university on there. I'm not gonna lie. I was so close to putting the university on there. It's not a university yet. But shouts out to Benedict College, still undefeated, still looking to possibly get into the Division II college playoffs. They lost out in the second round last year to, I want to say Wingate. I'm not sure, but they lost out last year. This year they're looking to possibly make better on their appearance last year. Big shout out to these two gentlemen also, because these guys, I mean, I don't know if you see it clearly, but Lobert Danellis, the number 8, of course, is the newcomer, but number 13, Lobert Danellis, I highlighted him last year. Man, I mean, these two guys, the most sacks in Division II football. Coach Kenneth Berry is building a program at Benedict, and I'm excited. I am happy. I am pleased. I was fortunate enough to have him on my show. Go on my YouTube and watch it if you haven't seen it yet. But I was fortunate enough to get a conversation with Coach Kenneth Berry prior to the prior to the spring season. And he was just telling, they just want to go 1-0. They just want to go 1-0. 1-0 is the goal. That is the goal, is to go 1-0 every week. And that's just taking the pressure off of the long grind of the season. You know what I mean? They want to make sure that each week you want to present yourself as to be the best person that you could possibly be throughout the week. So major shouts out to Coach Kenneth Berry and the Benedict College Tigers, just for being impressive, man. And if you haven't seen the stadium, go look at it. Go see it. The band. Go see the band. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to go see it, man, because it's incredible. It is incredible. A major shouts out to the Benedict College Tigers. They're still undefeated and looking to possibly progress even further and bring a national championship. The question, it really perplexes me, because could we potentially bring a national championship to Benedict College? That is the question that I want to know. Can Benedict College get a national championship at the school? I'm excited, and I'm hoping to do so. Also, before I go any further, because I got to talk about the college football playoff ranking. They just came out with it. I don't agree with how they have it, but we'll go on from there. But major shout out to the playmaker, man, Michael Irvin. So if you don't know, of course, not Michael, but of course, Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless, they're no longer on the show together. And so now with what is the name of the show? Goodness gracious. Undisputed. Let's get it out there. I was going to say No Mercy, because that was anyway, but it's called Undisputed. And Richard Sherman, Michael Irvin, Skip Bayless and Keyshawn Johnson. They all accompanied the show, but I was really happy that somebody was just not afraid to just tell it like it is. Just to be completely honest, just to tell it like it is. Take a listen, man, because Michael Irvin, the playmaker, he tells it just like it is.
I got a son. He raps. His rap name is Tut Tarantino. If you ever listen to some of his raps, I'm like, oh my God, where does this come from, son? You grew up in a gated community your whole life, but he's rapping my life because we romanticize and fantasize about that old thug life.
Go.
And so, of course, at the end of that, that is some of I can't play it because it's but first, shout out Michael Irvin, man. Like seriously, a father who's not afraid to just tell it like it is. And I've seen the comments on the underneath. They're like, "Oh, why you do them like that? Why you do them like that, bit, bruh?" Listen, telling the truth is called tell. I was listening to a minister, and he was saying that a father's love is different than a mother's love. A father's love may seem to be chastening, might seem to hurt your feelings, might seem to poke a hole at you or dig deep. He's just telling the truth. He raps about a life that he has not lived, he has no relation to, and even when he or if he were to become successful at it, which we would hope, that should be the end goal. But if he were to become successful at becoming a rapper, it's gonna get out there at some point. Partner, you lived in a gated community your whole life. So don't play like, he's carrying guns and this, that. I think we got to be real with ourselves. We got to be real with ourselves. Starting with him. Tell the truth, brother. Tell the truth. And major shouts out to the playmaker, Michael Irvin, man, because he's just telling it like it is. He said, oh my God, son. Seriously, it's a big deal, man. But let's go ahead and jump right into it. Let me go ahead and get this out of here, man. But anyway, we got the top 4 college football playoff rankings right now. Here it is as follows: Ohio State at number 1, Georgia at number 2, Michigan at number 3, Florida State at number 4, and then the other 2 teams, the last 2 that are looking in, I guess, you got Washington State, I'm sorry, not Washington State, the state of Washington, the University of Washington. Yeah, okay. I have to be specific because sometimes over on the East Coast we say Washington, we think DC. But Washington, the Huskies at number 5, and Oregon, the Ducks at number 6. Do I agree with this list? No. Here's why. First of all, University of Georgia should remain at the number 1 position because they are the reigning champs. Simple and plain. Nobody should overpass. I don't care what ranking. It could be the coaches poll, computer polls, BCS, whatever, a college football player ranking. Nobody should surpass the national champions until there's either a loss or they are taken off of that mountain. Fortunately enough, the University of Georgia, they have not lost. They have not lost at all. They are still undefeated. They're still winning, and they should put the University of Georgia at number 1. Simple and plain. Let's just put that there. But other than that, the list looks fine. Florida State, number 4. Last year, they were ranked they end the season at number 10. Currently undefeated. Number 4 in the rankings. I believe Florida State could possibly be the national champion at the end of the year. I think if any team could beat Georgia, it could be Florida State. I don't believe in, just my opinion, I don't see Colorado, if they were to be these world beaters, and I know that they're not, we all know that they're not right now, but if they were to be to the effect of an Ohio State, a Michigan, a Florida State, I don't see anybody in the Big Ten. I don't see anybody in these northern conferences beating a Southeastern conference. I'm just putting it out there. You can tell me if I'm wrong, but I just believe if you got take the University of Alabama, which northern, any team above the Mason-Dixon line, if you don't know where that is, look it up. Any team above, let's go any team above Tennessee. I don't believe any team outside of the SEC, ACC, Southeast. I don't see any team beating. I mean, you know, we've heard of USC being the team, and as you can see, they've already had a loss. You know, they say that a West Coast team could possibly do it. There's no defense on those West Coast teams, as you can see. There's no type of defense on those West Coast teams. The only one that I've seen that has a good enough defense, in my opinion, will be Oregon, and they will probably get drummed by 30. So as somebody who has grown up in the Southeast, played football with majority of guys that have played in the SEC, ACC, SIAC, MEAC, SWAC, all that, no, you're not going to beat, you know, like no one's going to beat anybody in the Southeast. And that's just me putting that out there. You know, you can take it or leave it. You can like it or love it, but I don't see that being the case. But what I do want to bring to your attention, though, because, you know, again, the college football playoff ranking, it being, you know, Ohio State at the number 1, Georgia number 2, Michigan number 3, Florida State number 4. Could you see UGA possibly be winning another national championship? If Florida State is not able to be in that championship game, if they're not able to knock off Georgia off of that Mount Rushmore, could this possibly be an opportunity for UGA to win a 3rd championship in a row? I don't know. I don't know. I haven't paid much attention to this University of Georgia team. I haven't paid attention to them, but I would like to see at least Georgia fight for that crown. Last year, they almost didn't make it. Ohio State, CJ Stroud, they could have won it. Had the kicker made the field goal, they would have won it. They would have won the national championship. That went down to the wire. Unfortunately, they didn't. TCU got drummed by 60, and here we are today. So, you know, if there's a possibility, could there possibly be, you know, something that can happen? Now, in other news, you know, because I've been away for a while, but this gentleman is in a little bit of hot water, simply because of sign stealing. So, Central Michigan, follow me here, but Central Michigan said that it's investigating photos of a man who resembles Michigan staff member Connor Stalions on its sideline from the team's opener against Michigan State. Now, it's been said that Michigan, they'll tell somebody to buy a ticket to an opposing opponent's game. They could be playing somebody totally different, and then you steal the signs. You pay attention to how they call plays from the sideline. If they say red, blue, oyster, green, apple turnover, then they know that that's a run play. So I need to make sure that I take that back to my coach. And so now this guy, Jim Harbaugh, he's under fire, of course, because of the University of Michigan stealing signs from the other schools. Now, granted, the University of Michigan right now, they are ranked number 2 in the national championship playoff picture. I do not believe that they're going to take them away or they're going to strip them of anything right now, because like Prime said, at the end of the day, you can know all of what I'm doing, but you got to stop it. And it seems like no one in college football has been able to stop it. Stalions has been the focal point of an ongoing investigation of sign stealing, investigation into the Wolverines football program, and photos from the game's broadcast have emerged showing someone many believe resembles Stalions on Central Michigan's sideline. The photos circulated Monday showing the man believed to be Stalions wearing a Chippewas gear, gray shirt, gray shirt with CMU logo on it, maroon hat. You know, like he had the whole ensemble on him. He had that thing on him. He had it all. So, you know, that goes into that. I don't think that Michigan, I don't think that they will get in trouble just yet, but I will say that they will get a slap on the wrist. Possibly next year, maybe Jim Harbaugh take like 2-3 games off or something, go on an extended vacation, something to that degree. so that it may seem as if he's punishing himself or self-inflicted punishment. But we all know it doesn't matter. But I mean, I have to say, if Jim Harbaugh can't deliver a national championship, because it's starting to look that way, if you're not able to deliver a national championship, they might need to think something different. But I don't know. If it's not broke, don't fix it. I guess that's what they're saying in Michigan. Ohio State is right there on your tail. And isn't it good that Michigan and Ohio State are both good at the same time? At the end of the season, we will be seeing a Michigan-Ohio State matchup that could possibly decide the national championship playoff picture. But it is what it is. It is. Ladies and gentlemen, you already know what time it is. It is me. I'm him. I'm easily called the Alpha Male. Let's go ahead and get up off this real quick. Let's jump to another subject that I think I want to go ahead and jump into. Major shouts out to Victor Wembanyama. Wemby. Major shouts out to that gentleman. Haven't been, it's been a couple games, 2-3 games here, whatnot. Doing a pretty good job, I think. Last night it was definitely a good job. KD, of course, without Devin Booker, without not Miles Bridges. He's gone. He's already gone. But yeah, KD without his two superstars next to him, it does seem as if it's going to be a tough road ahead until one of these guys get back. But the Spurs are doing pretty well. I do believe, and I've heard different things Pop say to his teammates. Just be patient. They're not expecting much. But major shouts out to Victor Wembanyama. Had a couple of highlights, couple of good games and whatnot. Last night was another good game for him. He was able to get the win. And if I'm not mistaken, they were down. They were down like 20 some odd points, ended up winning the game by 1 point. So major shouts out to the young. They're young too. Very young Spurs, 2-2 currently. Let's see what Victor Wembanyama had. KD had 26 points, 12 for 19 field goals. He was 1 for 2 at his free throw line. Let's see where Victor Wembanyama. Let's see where he is. Let's see what Victor did. Maybe I have to go to the box score or something like that, just to be sure of it. Wemby, there we go. There we go. Let's go ahead and get to it. Come on. But I want to point out, he's had a lot of hype. If there's a lot of people that had hype, he definitely had the hypest of the hype coming into the league. And so, now it just looks as if, I believe he's not going to be mediocre. I think he's good, but I'm not as excited as everybody else is. I think he's going to be a good player. We know that, but I mean, you got to do a lot in my eyes LeBron James had to do a lot to get to where he is, in my opinion. Shaq had to do a lot to get to where he is. Jordan had to do a lot to get to where he is. So hopefully this does work out. 4 games played, 4 games started. Right now he averages about 27 minutes. He averages 16 points per game, 2 offensive rebounds per game, 5 defensive rebounds per game, in total 7.5 rebounds per game, 1.5 assists, 1.5 steal, 2.3 blocks. So these are just his season averages thus far. Major shouts out again to Victor Wembanyama, hoping that this guy can potentially move forward and be a force to be reckoned with in the NBA, as so much or as it has been highly publicized and whatnot. But I think somebody that I definitely want to talk about that, I don't want to say he grinds my gears, but in a way it does kind of make me feel like, all right, what are we doing here? Ladies, if you've been in a relationship with a guy for about 7 years and it doesn't look like there's any plans to move forward, it's like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? What are we doing here, James Harden? Because I really feel like, as time has gone on, he's done so many shifts. He's left from OKC. He said he'd go to the Rockets, and at the time, that was possibly the best time I would believe that we got out of James Harden. He was MVP caliber. I mean, could drop 50 at any time if you wasn't paying attention. I mean, he just did great mid-season stuff. Okay, did great mid-season stuff. MVP during the season, best shooter, best passer, whatever it is, he was good at it during the season. But during the playoffs, it just falls off. But then it just happens to where he goes to the Nets, and then after the Nets, he goes to the Sixers, and after the Sixers, now he's with the Clippers now, and it's and in all honesty, it's like I'm tired. When will James Harden get a championship? When will he get a championship? And really, the question is, you know, what is about this new scene? What about this new scene says that James Harden is going to be different or make something happen to where people believe, all right, this could be a thing. This could be a thing. This could be something that could, because if you think about it, right? KD going to the Suns, you got Devin Booker, you got Bradley Beal. These guys still got a few years left on them, as well as KD has won a championship. Though people might not agree with me, they might have something to argue. He won a championship, multiple, and one. Steph, I think, was barely there. Clay was, well, no, he didn't win that one because he won with the team, but he played in a championship that was tough. He tore his Achilles, unfortunately, but now we look at this situation where James Harden is going to the 76ers. I'm sorry, not the 76ers, but he's headed to another team. He's headed to the Clippers. You have who do you have on that team? You got Kawhi Leonard, you got Paul George, you got Russell Westbrook. All of which don't have long in the league. I mean, they can make it as long as they want to. They can play as long as they want to. I'm not the one to decide for them. I can't put myself in their shoes. But I want to point out that these gentlemen are long in the tooth. Okay? 2015, Russell was playing. It's almost 10 years later. You dig what I'm saying? 2015, James Harden was playing. It's almost 10 years later. All these guys were playing, and they were at the height of their careers 10 years ago. So now we have to really hone in on this. Like, seriously, look at me on this now. Do you feel that the Clippers have a shot to win a championship? Honestly, I want to know, do you feel like the Clippers have a legitimate shot at winning a championship? Because I want to challenge how people look at the word superstar. What makes somebody a superstar? You got to show up every time. You got to make sure that you're the guy. And it's just, I just don't see that out of either of those four, just to be completely honest. Not to say that their basketball IQ or their basketball regimen or their basketball acumen or whatever is waning. What I'm saying is these gentlemen are older, and there's a lot more that has to be done for them to be successful. You got Tyronn Lue as head coach. You got these four gentlemen that are all ball dominant men, meaning they need the ball in their hands in order for the team to be successful, right? Russell Westbrook has shown us that he can operate off the bench. Russell Westbrook has shown us that he can operate off the ball. In all honesty, I feel as though out of all four of these people, Russell Westbrook is the only person that has gone through the rigors of being, ridiculed by fans, ridiculed by different NBA players and this, that, and the third. And he has emerged on the other side, in my opinion, victorious. But now when we look at these four gentlemen, James Harden, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and Russell Westbrook, do you see a championship? No, I don't. I do not see a championship. But if you do, hey, to each their own. But I don't see that to be possible. Now, earlier I did mention that James Harden is really good at having a lot of mid-season stuff. Right? Or doing 8 years ago, almost 10 years ago, he was. But it's been said a lot that the NBA regular season isn't worth anything. It's not worth it. You play all the way up to the All-Star break. get an all-star nod. Now you're headed into the second half of the season. You're headed into the rigmarole, just to be honest, almost like a gauntlet um for the NBA. And so now, let me put this in real quick because I want to talk about this a little bit in detail. It's coming up, but the in-season tournament by the NBA. How do you feel about it? Do you like it? Do you not like it? You know what? I'm gonna hold my mic like this. I think that'd be cool. Hold my mic like that. Do you like it? Do you not like it? How does it work? You know what I mean? Like, what would be the point of having this whole thing, this midseason thing? And it begins November 3rd. So what 2 more days, this Friday it begins. And this is how it's going to go. Here's the first summary. The inaugural in-season NBA tournament will tip off Friday in a culminate with the championship that's going to be on Saturday, December 9th. So from November 3rd to December 9th, all of the NBA teams will be involved in this. Now, this is the regular set of games that they were already going to play, this was already pre-established. As a matter of fact, there's going to be another mid-season, I guess, tournament next year around this time that's already set in place. Now, the championship will take place in Las Vegas, in the T-Mobile Arena. So that's pretty cool. It gives, it does give teammates or players, it just gives them something, I guess, to look forward to. Now, first off, it's going to be group play. So all 30 teams have randomly drawn into groups of 5 within their conference based on win-loss records from the 2023 regular season. So that's from last year's season. Okay. It begins November 3rd, like I said, and continues through November 28th. Each team will play for a designated group and play games on the tournament nights. One game against each opponent in its group, with 2 games at home and 2 games on the road. Here's the knockout round. Each team will advance to the knockout rounds. The team with the best standings in group play in each of the 6 groups, and 2 wild cards, that's going to make it on, to the next room. The knockout rounds will be single elimination games. The quarterfinals will be played, I think, that'll be played from December 4th through December 5th. Semifinals, I think, will be played on the 8th, and then the championship culminating on the 9th. All 67 games across both stages of the in-season tournament will count towards regular season standings, except the championship. Each team will continue to play the 82 regular season games in the 2023-2024 season, including those games that are a part of group play and knockout rounds. 14 group play games, 2 games on each. God, this is a lot of rules. Listen, I'm gonna just cut to the chase. I don't think it like I don't like it, because this is something that you guys are trying to do to right the ship, right? And I think that's admirable, that's commendable. I appreciate that, but let's really think about it, man. Like, mid-season, like, this is something that James Harden would have been great. He would have got the MVP of he probably would have got a championship that way. And I really feel like a lot of players they're finally gonna get a championship because they probably not gonna get an NBA championship. Does it diminish what the NBA championship is worth? No. In my opinion, I think it makes it even that much more better, because now you're able to look at, let's say the Clippers win the in-tournament championship or mid-season tournament or whatnot, and then you lose in the first round of the playoff. What would be the point? What would be the point? And so I feel as though there is no point other than to, first off, make sure that the superstars are playing, because that is another keynote that Adam Silver said that he wanted to make sure. This whole what is it? Load management or whatnot. It's just a soft ass excuse for players to just take the night off. And that's not going to be acceptable anymore. So that's another rule change of the NBA, for the NBA. You know, no more than two superstars can be off for that night. So if we're talking about load management, we got to cut that out too. So I really feel like this tournament is, for one, a way to ensure that players are able to stay playing during the season. You know, there's a requirement that you have to play a certain amount of games, but there is also a way. I'm sorry. This tournament is also in a way to get fans back on the TVs, back into the stadiums in the middle of the season. You know, or you got to think the time that they're doing this is around the time that Thanksgiving is kicking up. People are getting ready for Christmas. They already got travel plans, getting ready for that. And so I can assume that no one is really paying attention to the NBA like that. As a matter of fact, you also got November, December. So there's some football players probably in high school and college. They're ending their football season. The NFL, they're ramping up the playoff push in November and December. There's a lot of other things going on that you can watch than to watch the NBA, regular season. So I see that this is possibly a way to ensure that these the fans begin to watch more of the seasons, as well as the teams are able to get their superstars back on the field. But I'm going to get off my high horse on that. As you can see, I'm still getting a little hoarse talking about it, but let's move on just a tad bit now. I want to point out that, unfortunately, after earlier this week's loss on Monday, Raiders fire head coach Josh McDaniel. They fired Dave Ziegler, their general manager. Mark Davis also had a statement saying, after much thought about that, the Raiders organization, he felt as though it's time to leave. It's time to get, head in another direction. After much thought about the Raiders need to move forward, I have decided to part ways with Josh McDaniels and Dave. I want to thank them both for their hard work and wish them and their families nothing but the best. So it's nice, but the Las Vegas Raiders fired Josh McDaniels and general manager Dave Ziegler. The team now announced last night, after much thought about what the Raiders need to. I already read that, but long story less long. Josh McDaniel, this isn't his first time. He had a somewhat of a mediocre showing in Denver, and so they feel as though he had the experience, he knew how to win before, and it just didn't translate over. And now I do want to know what they're going to do with Jamal Adams. Do they plan on moving on from him? What are the Raiders going to do? Are they going to trade for somebody else? How is this going to work with the Raiders? Also, Jimmy Garoppolo being benched by the Raiders, and now there's somebody. It's just a lot going on in the NFL, and so it's going to be a lot when the playoffs start. A lot of coaches are going to get fired. One in particular that I have somewhat of a issue with. You're listening to AlphaMale Sports. I got to talk about the Atlanta Falcons and this guy, Desmond Ridder. We got to talk about the Atlanta Falcons and Desmond Ridder because I don't know. And it's not his fault. I want to point that out. I do believe that it is not his fault. I am not. This is not an attack session for Desmond Ridder. This is not a time to attack him and bash him, all this other stuff. But it's very hard to ignore the obvious. He already has about 12 turnovers. There's a few winnable games that should have been won, but due to poor play calling, poor clock management, poor quarterback play, it just seemed again, the Falcons should have won. They should not be 4-4. I just put it like that. Last year at this time, they were 4-4 with Marcus Mariota because we knew what we were getting. And now this year, this time, we're still 4-4. We do not have Marcus Mariota. We've gone on to the draft. We've made the proper acquisitions. I was going to say adequate. We made the proper acquisitions. We've gone on to get Bijan Robinson. We've gone on to get some more offensive linemen. We've got defensive linemen. We got Calais Campbell to come in as a veteran presence to help the team get to another place. The defense is playing better. We've done everything that they have done, everything that they could have done. But I really feel as though Arthur Smith isn't being 100% transparent with what either he could have did, should have did, or what he's going to do with Desmond Ridder. Because it is becoming to be, I'm not going to go so far as saying it is a dumpster fire, but a lot of the fans are looking like, well, come on.
Decision at the quarterback position.
So, just for this week, just with all the variables, just kind of consider everything the last 72 hours and what we feel is good, best for this week for us to, against Minnesota. Taylor will play this week.
So there you have it. Taylor Heinicke will be playing this week. They have benched Desmond Ridder, and now Taylor Heinicke will be playing this week. So I've been doing this little thing with my wife where, we like to play this game at home. We like to, we talk sports, to be honest. I got a good one. We talk sports. But we have this thing where this is when I ask, well, what would you do? We look at a lot of teams and we argue about, what they shouldn't have done this, what they shouldn't have done that, what they shouldn't have done this, what they shouldn't have done that. And so now my question to you is, let's be GM for a day. Let's play general manager for a day, right? With the Falcons sitting Desmond Ridder down for Taylor Heinicke, how would you address the quarterback situation? How would you address the Atlanta Falcons quarterback situation? Because it's an issue. We need a quarterback, for one, that's going to be able to run the offense. But I do believe we need to address the head coach. We need to address the fact that he's the play caller. So I, for a long time, thought that the Falcons did not have a deep offensive coordinator. It was just Arthur Smith calling the plays and he'd be the offensive coordinator. But no, we have an offensive coordinator. We have somebody that runs the offense, teaches the offense, and this, that, and the third. But Arthur Smith is calling the plays. In my opinion, that's micromanaging. If I have a position, I should be the one to call, but neither here nor there. If you're GM for a day, what do? Do we trade Desmond Ridder? Do we get rid of Desmond Ridder? Do we just let him stay? Because he's not getting another contract. I'm sure of that. But it's at its boiling point, in my honest opinion. And my brother and I, we were talking, and he asked me, well, why would you choose Derek Carr and the Saints, man? Those guys are trash, man. They not going. I know, but I don't believe in Arthur Smith, and I do not believe in Desmond Ridder. You dig what I'm saying? And unfortunately, we have to deal with, Taylor Heinicke. And not to say that he's a bad alternative. He's played as a quarterback for the Commanders last year. He was a starter for the Commanders last year. And so now we're going with a veteran presence, and hopefully he can, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, but that's just is what it is. In all honesty, that's just where I am with the situation. There were a lot of games that we should have won, and there were a lot of games that we should have lost. Carolina should have beat us. You know what I mean? Tampa Bay should have beat us. And we should have beaten the Lions. We should have beaten the Commanders. But that's just not the case. But that's neither here nor there. I got tickets later on this season on the 26th. I'm going to be seeing the Falcons and the Saints play each other. So, if you check in with me, if you see me walking around, you just shoot me the deuces. What's that? But I will be there, and I'll give another in-depth synopsis or whatnot. But if you look for anything to watch tonight, make sure that you guys watch Game 4 of the World Series right now. Texas, they are up 3-1 over the Arizona Diamondbacks. Hopefully the Diamondbacks can, rally, get another win or get a win to possibly force this game to 7. They want to possibly force this series to 7 games on Saturday. So that'll be excited. Make sure y'all tune in for that. Also tonight, we got Portland taking on Detroit. Milwaukee taking on Toronto. The Atlanta Hawks will be taking on the Washington Wizards. Boston stays undefeated against Indiana. I'm saying it here. Miami, they're taking on Brooklyn. Cleveland, they're taking on New York. And New Orleans, they'll be taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder, ladies and gentlemen. You already know what time it is. Wait, is it some more games? Oh, it's more games too. My bad. Charlotte taking on Houston. Denver taking on Minnesota. Chicago, Dallas, Memphis. They're going to be going up against Utah. Sacktown taking on. Actually, it's going to be a rematch earlier last week, I would assume. Golden State taking on Sacktown, and the Clippers. They're going to be taking on LA Lakers. A whole nice little in-home rivalry. That's going to be on ESPN tonight, so I'm excited to see that. And then, of course, tomorrow night we will be tomorrow night we'll be getting ready for NFL football. Tomorrow night you got Tennessee Titans taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm choosing the Pittsburgh Steelers. Kenny Pickett, George Pickens. I think they're going to have a good game. But, hey, that's neither here nor there. I will be here on Friday to chat with you guys. Make sure you guys tap in with me. It is me. He is I, and I am him. I am he that they call the Alpha Male. Ladies and gentlemen, peace.